Tonight on First at 9, this Sunday the 28th of April 2024. Priorities. Sri Lanka's future is the priority. Abolishing the executive presidency is secondary, stresses President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Higher returns. Interest payment for the private sector retirement fund to be increased by nearly 5 basis points for year 2023, confirms State Minister for Finance. More tourists. Sri Lanka welcomes more than 120,000 tourists so far in April. Cumulative total exceeds 750,000.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is Derana First at 9 with Indivadi Amawata. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a very warm welcome. You're joining us this Sunday on First at 9 for the very latest in your local news and for the latest developments internationally. We start off with your top stories making headlines tonight. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that as the country has stabilized the current import-oriented economy, the country must focus on evolving into a highly competitive export-oriented economy. Addressing an event in Colombo, President Wickremesinghe said the future of the country is more crucial than reforming the education system and abolishing the executive presidency in order to prevent another financial crisis in the future.
The Rotary District Conference 2023-2024 of Rotary District 3220 was held recently at the BMICH in Colombo under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
We stabilize the economy that is import dependent. Are we going ahead with the import dependent economy? Then what I have done is in vain because it will be repeated 10 years since. 15 years ago. This is the decision for the country today. Not whether the executive presidency is retained or the executive presidency is abolished. Those are secondary issues. I mean, people will come up with many issues. What is the education system? Are we to change it or not? I think we should change it, but it's not the primary issue. What is our future? Are we prepared to take those decisions? And if we want an export-oriented, highly competitive economy, how are we going to achieve it? Everyone says we want a highly competitive economy. The moment tariff comes down, everyone is shocked. We have to be protected. Now that's a contradiction. If you want to be competitive, you must face competition. You can't be competitive without facing competition. I have great faith in the Sri Lankan businesses. We can make it through. We will have difficult periods, but we can make it through.
ජීවිතේ හැම තැනකදීම ස්මාර්ට් වෙන්න පොලිය විතරක් ගෙවාගෙන යන්න CDB Smart Draft.
State Minister of Finance Shahan Semasinghe is optimistic that Sri Lankans' purchasing power will gradually improve as the country's economy stabilizes. He stressed that measures introduced by the government to stabilize the economy have proven successful and that current efforts are geared towards shifting the economy into a new growth path.
State Minister of Finance Shahan Semasinghe stated that Sri Lanka's economy has been stabilized and economic growth is emerging after 2 years since the country faced the worst economic crisis in its history. He pointed out that Sri Lankan rupee against the US dollar appreciated from 360 to 300 rupees and will make the purchasing of goods and services cheaper over time, helping to alleviate inflationary pressures and contribute to price and financial system stability. The State Minister said the current exchange rate is market determined and subject to changes in the foreign exchange market. The continuous appreciation of the rupee is expected to reduce the burden of debt servicing for the country going forward. He added that measures to stabilize the economy have thus far been successful and that government is now in the process of transitioning the economy to a new growth path.
As parts of Sri Lanka continue to experience heavy rainfall During the past few days, the Department of Meteorology warns that current thunderstorms and heavy rains are due to the intertropical convergence zone. This is the area where winds from the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere converge. Amid thunder showers warnings, parts of the country were affected by the extreme heat conditions. According to latest data issued by the Disaster Management Centre, some 18,000 individuals of 5 districts are severely inconvenienced owing to the prevailing droughts.
Several areas of the country have been experiencing heavy rainfall during the past few days. In its daily weather forecast, the Department of Meteorology said frequent thunderstorms and heavy rains are experienced as a result of the intertropical convergence zone, which is the area where the winds from the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere converge.
The intertropical convergence zone, that is the wind convergence zone from the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, is now affecting the island's weather. This convergence zone provides very good environmental conditions to develop the convective clouds over the island and surrounding sea areas. Therefore, showers or thunder showers can be expected at several places in western, Sabaragamuwa, central, southern, northwestern, U and north central provinces, and also in some part of the eastern province after 1 p.m. Also, other areas in the island, we can expect some few areas, showers or thunder showers during evening or night. Especially heavy showers can be expected above 100 millimeters in some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa, southern and northwestern provinces. During these thunder showers, we can expect strong lightning activities as well as short period strong precipitation and also the strong winds. Therefore, general public can be requested to take adequate precautions to minimize the damage caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers.
The heavy rains also led to landslides in the Karandagola area in Badulla district, prompting distress among local residents. Commenting on the threat posed on the lives of the residents, the National Building Research Organisation said that a thorough investigation will be launched into the matter tomorrow. Meanwhile, extreme heat conditions were also experienced across parts of the island. Issuing an amber heat advisory for today, the Natural Hazards Early Warning Centre of the Met Department stated that the heat index or the temperature felt on the human body reached up to caution level at some places of the country. According to the Weather Office, extreme heat conditions were experienced in the northern, north central, western, Sabaragamuwa, eastern and northwestern provinces and in the Monragala district. In addition, the Disaster Management Centre stated that a total of 13,131 persons belonging to 4,223 families in Gampaha, Kegol, Badulla, Kilinochchi and Trincomalee districts were affected as a result.
In Sweden, leader of the National People's Power, Kumara Dissanayake, claimed that the opposing political factions may unite to ensure the defeat of the JVP-led National People's Power. He requests Sri Lankans living overseas to return home during a presidential election to support the NPP. Addressing a gathering in Stockholm, the leader of the JVP was of the view that Sri Lanka will continue to harbour in political instability until questions regarding the Easter Sunday attacks are clarified and resolved.
Leader of the National People's Power, Kumara Dissanayake, addressed a gathering of the Sri Lankan community in Sweden's capital, Stockholm.
චන්ද්‍රිකා මහින්ද රනිල් මේ සියලු සතුරු කඳවුරු එක වේදිකාවකට තමයි ජනාධිපති ඡන්දය.
All opposing factions including Chandrika, Mahinda and Ranil will be joining one platform in the upcoming presidential election. They are already making plans to unite. However, personal disputes between Ranil and Sajid will be an obstacle. There won't be any concerns in terms of policies for this unification. They must unite in order to hinder the growth of the NPP as well as to prevent the NPP from coming to power. The only challenge we have to face is to bring people of this country together. The presidential election is likely to be held either on 28th of September or on the 5th of October. Firstly, we are extending an invitation to you all to come to Sri Lanka during this period. Secondly, we request you to promote our views through social media. Thirdly, we request you all to speak to your relatives regarding the crucial need for an attractive country. What must be done with the Easter Sunday attack? It is questionable if those who executed the attacks and those who are supposed to prevent such attacks work together. If this was the case, then it is a critical situation. Many concerns have been raised. Was the investigations into the murder of 2 police officers in Vaunathu handed over to the wrong party? Jamil, who was at the Taj Hotel, went to Dehiwala upon his failure to detonate the bomb. Intelligence officials arrive at his residence on time before he is able to detonate the bomb once again. How was that possible? An individual under the alias Podi Zaharan was arrested in the Matale area. Podi Zaharan was persuaded to believe that this was an attack conducted by ISIS. Who did this? Did Sara die or is she missing? The questions must be clarified. The country will continue to remain unstable until these matters are resolved.
අපි හිතනවා අපිට දේශීය පරීක්ෂණ පිළිබඳ නැවත කතෝලික ප්‍රජාව සහ ඊට අදාළ වින්දිතයන්ගේ විශ්වාසය ගොඩනගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා අපි හිතනවා.
In politics again, leader of the Samagi Jana Balavege, Sajid Premadasa, pledges to provide meals to all school children of all 10,126 government schools in Sri Lanka before the end of this year. The opposition leader went on to state that the SJB provides funding to the country's health and education sector through its initiatives Husma and Sakwala, even without holding any positions of political power.
හැමදාමත්ම මේ රටේ වැඩක් කරුණේ ජනාධිපති වෙලා අගමැති වෙලා එක්කෝ ඇමති රාජ්‍ය ඇමති නියෝජ්‍ය ඇමති රණසිංහ ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමා ඇතුළුව.
Any work in this country was executed only after gaining power as president, prime minister, minister, state minister or deputy minister. No leader, including Ranasinghe Premadasa or an opposition, has done this. We embarked on a new phase. Even without such positions, we launched new programs dubbed Sakwala and Husma to provide funding to the education and health sectors of this country. I addressed you as friends during the school event. I was criticized for saying so. Those who treated students as the enemy, burned down schools, set homes of students ablaze, are surely familiar with the term enemy. All 22 million people in Sri Lanka are my friends. Only students from grade 1 to 5 are eligible for the school meal program in this country. Students from grade 6 to 13 are not eligible to benefit from it. We will initiate 2 programs before the end of this year. One will provide complete and nutritious meals to all school children across all 10,126 government schools during school hours.
අංග සම්පූර්ණ පෝෂදායි ආහාර වේලක් ලබා දෙන්නට අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කටයුතු කරනවා කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
As the political debate on presidential elections gathers steam, Samagi Jana Balavege parliamentarian Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca reminds the general public to have the wisdom to choose a correct leader to lead the country. With that, here's a look at statements made in the political arena today.
දැන් උමාවේ හිලට මොකද වුනේ? උමාවේ හිල හරියට අනුර කුමාර වගේ බොනි කර තරුවක්, තනි කර බොරුවක්. උමාවේ හිලත් නැත, අනුර කුමාර කියන දේවල් වලට පදනමකුත් නැත. ඒ වගේ තමයි හැමදාමත්ම බොරු කිය ඉඳලා අවසානයේදී උමාවෙන් තමයි හොඳම ඇන ගැනීම ඇනගත්තේ කියන එකත් මම මේ වෙලාවේ මතක් කරනවා. කොටාබේ රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමා ගේනකොට මම විරුද්ධ වෙච්ච කෙනෙක්. මම කිව්වා අත්දැකීම් නැති අයට රට බාර දෙන්න එපා කියලා අපි කිව්වා අපේ පක්ෂයට. ඇහුවේ නැහැ. රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා අත්දැකීම් තියෙන නායකයෙක් හැටියට වගකීම බාරගත්තම අපි උදව් කරා. ගෝඨාභය මහත්තයා ගාවේ හිටපු කණ්ඩායමම තමයි රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයාව නායකත්වයට ගෙනාවේ අපේ පක්ෂ නායකයෝ. අපි නෙමෙයි.
ඒතකොට මේ රටේ පොසතෙක් වුණා කියලා එහෙම ආඩම්බර වෙනවා නම් ඒ කියන්නේ නොම්මරකේ මෝඩේ. අර පොසත් රටවල ඉන්න මධ්‍යම පන්ති මිනිහෙක් මේ රටේ පොසතුකට වඩා හොඳට ජීවත් වෙනවා. ඕගොල්ලෝ මේක වෙනස් කරන්න නම් ඌටත් දුන්නා මූටත් බෑ අරුටත් බෑ මූටත් බෑ කියලා කාට හරි එහෙනම් මේ පාර මූට දෙමු. එහෙම ගහලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. ඕගොල්ලන්ට බුද්ධිය තියෙන්න ඕනේ ප්‍රමිතියක් තියෙන නායකයෝ තෝරගන්න.
The medical team of Kaluthara Teaching Hospital has successfully carried out surgery to simultaneously remove kidney stones from both kidneys of a patient for the first time in the medical history of Sri Lanka. With that, here's a look at more news across the island in brief.
A team of doctors at the Kaluthara Teaching Hospital successfully removed kidney stones simultaneously from both kidneys of a patient. The surgery was performed with the use of a disposable flexible ureteroscope. This surgery was performed for the first time in the medical history of the nation. The patient is reported to be in good health condition after the successful surgery. Meanwhile, the Navy apprehended 10 persons engaged in illegal fishing in the sea areas of Poduwakattu in Trincomalee and Kondachikuda recently. The operation also led to the seizure of 2 dinghies, diving gear and unauthorized fishing equipment. The 5 suspects and their belongings held in Poduwakattu Sea area were handed over to the fisheries inspector of Trincomalee for further legal action.
A significant drop in the number of births in Sri Lanka is reported since year 2020. According to a latest report by the Registrar General's Department, an increase is shown in the annual rate of deaths in the same time period.
Publishing findings of a latest study carried out by the Registrar General's Department, Senior Deputy Registrar General Attorney at Law Lakshika Ganepal stated that the number of annual births has plunged while the number of annual deaths has risen since year 2020. She stated that the annual birth rate was about 325,000 before 2020 and has significantly decreased to 280,000 within the last 3 years. At the same time, the annual death rate, which was around 140,000, has now increased to 180,000. The department disclosed that this situation might affect the Sri Lankan population negatively.
Welcome back. We take you to your business news. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siamalapitia says measures are being taken by the government to increase the interest rate of Employees Provident Fund for year 2023. Currently, the fund fetches an interest of 9% per annum. Accordingly, the payment will be increased to 13% for EPF accounts for year 2023. The minister said the decision to increase interest rates was taken due to the good investment performance of the fund.
EPF is the largest fund in the country. There are 2.7 million members in that fund. When restructuring local debt, the biggest challenge was debt of the EPF fund. Local debt is around 50% of total debt of Sri Lanka. Out of the local debt, a majority is linked to the EPF or bonds linked to retirement funds. During the restructuring of local debt, many accused us of destroying this fund and making a big loss for members. The government during that time provided a reasonable solution, granting a rate of 9% interest. If the interest rates were lower than those of the investments, government would bear the loss through the treasury. We are now ready to give 13% interest rate to the accounts for the year 2023. The rate is being decided on an annual basis. It is very important because a great percentage of the profits gained from the investing in the fund will go to the members.
Well, Sri Lanka has recorded a total of 121,595 tourist arrivals during the period from the 1st of April to the 25th of this month. According to Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, 121,595 tourists visited Sri Lanka until the 25th of April, and the week shows that India secured the top spot with 21,324 arrivals, followed by Russia with 12,807 and the United Kingdom 11,626. Cumulative data shows that Sri Lanka has received 757,359 tourists so far this year. Sri Lanka's Coconut Development Authority data showed that the average coconut prices fell to 63,231 rupees per 1,000 nuts at an auction on April 2024 from 64,009.40 a week earlier. The highest price was 72,200 rupees for 1,000 nuts, down 72,100 rupees a week ago, while the lowest remained at 60,000. A total of 811,217 coconuts were offered at the auction, and only 360,531 nuts were sold as prices fell for the third week in a row. Coconut prices are down 16% from the latest auction in December 2023. Well, that wraps up tonight's edition of First at 9. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time. Have a pleasant evening.